Well, here she is, fellas. There's that Bosch 3-ton unit. She is set up as a 2-ton heat pump on that carrier variable speed air handler. Surge protector is installed. Just made a video on the thermostat setup on the indoor. I want to try to merge that together with this one. Bear with me with this video. Fighting this cold as well, so my audio is probably crappy, so bear with me. But while we're waiting for this thing to start up, just go through the brief details. I have the thermostat set up as a 2-stage thermostat with that 2-stage air handler. Like I said, it's a Carrier FV002 air handler with that variable speed and the TXV, so it's capable of going from a 1.5 ton up to a 3-ton. This is also a 3-ton unit, so I have room to grow if I need. But obviously, I don't think I'm going to add on to my home. But if I ever do, I can grow very simply. So anyway, like I said, I have it set up Y1, Y2 on the thermostat, so it's ramping my blower accordingly, thinking that the outdoor unit is a 2-stage, which in theory, I guess it is. It's modulating, so it can do whatever it needs to do out here. The blower is going to work the way the thermostat's telling it to, and the ECM has it programmed. So there's a few things that Carrier unit needs to see. That's definitely an orange and a Y to that control board. Without that, it doesn't know whether it's an air conditioner or a heater. It just knows that it's telling it to run. If you do not give it a Y or an orange, then it's only relying on the G signal from your thermostat. So, like I said, you got to give it those signals. So, the Bosch is an orange, energized and heating. And like I said, the Carrier is looking for it in cooling. So I had to use an isolation relay there. So I'm constantly powering the O to the control board of the air handler. And when the orange from the thermostat is made for the heat, then it de-energizes that ISO relay and then ramps my blower according to what it needs to for the heat. So that side's taken care of. And here it is starting up. We'll get back to the wiring in a few moments, but that's it starting up. Once you get the fan, you get the fan running at full capacity, which is about an amp, 1.08 amps roughly is what I've been measuring, but definitely no more than an amp. But it runs the fan for a couple seconds, and then you hear it ramping down, and there's the compressor. But that's it. There she is, fellas, and I haven't changed my tone of voice one bit. Still talking to the same as I was. I haven't changed it, and I'm only setting maybe 1.5 feet, 2 feet from this outdoor unit. We can go right up on top of the fan here in just a moment. Fan. But that's that. There she is, and she's going to ramp up as it's according to the demand of my stat and staging and all that fun stuff. But back to the wiring. Like I was saying earlier, the outdoor unit is a single stage in regular wiring sense, but the inverter controller does the modulation of the compressor. So I only have an input signal for one Y to that outdoor unit. So just was basically me and Ralph were talking, and trying to figure out how to get the maximum efficiency out of this, and we basically both agree setting up as 2-stage and all that fun stuff is the way to go. And so we talked about the wiring and how to make that happen, and without backfeeding. So obviously if you tie Y1 to Y2 and hook it to the outdoor unit, whichever one is going to backfeed to that control board, pretty much taking out any kind of thing you were trying to do out of the equation. So you got to separate each one of those Y calls individually, just like the carrier stat or whatever would have told that carrier unit to do, but control it with this Bosch. So anyway, I'll show you that wiring under the house in just a moment, but in hindsight, we basically used ISO relay to do that as well. There's obviously I used a 9340 relay. I say we, me and Ralph, we talked about this over the phone, and we communicated quite a bit with this setup. So as far as both of us know, this is the only time this has been done, documented and everything. So anyway, so we talked, and we used 9340 relay, and to do the Y signals, I just basically used both set of contacts on that relay, the top section and the bottom section. Like I said, I'll show you that in just a moment. Sounds like the compressor's ramping just a little bit more. So yeah, that thing is super quiet, and the normal max, or the normal amp load on this thing that I'm constantly getting is generally between a 3.5 to a 4.8, depending on how hard I have it pushing. If I'm rocking it full stage, wide open, 4.5, 4.8. Like right now, it's probably only pulling, if I had to guess, 2.5, maybe 3. But anyway, we'll go into the house and look at that, and show you all that fun stuff. But there's the old jewel that I pulled out, 13 SEER American Standard heat pump. She was a good one, but she still works. I'm gonna donate it to my neighbor across the street. He has a 1981 Ream that I want to give him this stuff, and he's going to buy some plenums and a little bit of ductwork, and we're going to put that in for him. Well, I'm going to supervise. He's going to do it. But let's go into the house. All right, here we go. We're going under the house. I did add a dehumidifier under here, just a small one. Nothing fancy. Just a Home Depot, Lowe's dehumidifier for my crawl space. Noticed that I had some foundation, where the blocks are put together. I've seen some daylight through some of those, so trying to get the humidity under here a little bit better. There's the air handler. Got my Air Night UV light in the supply plenum. Got another stick light in the blower compartment. I got another stick light in the coil. April Air media cleaner that I kept. I kept my return plenum. There was my original 14-inch return on that pan joist, which, like I said, was just bare minimum for what the air that it was pushing. So I added 2 8-inches, connected to a 14 by 8 duct with a 12 by 12 return grill in each bedroom. And like I said, I'm adding the third one probably next week when I feel a little bit better. That's what that collar right there is for. It's not cut in, it's just stuck there, so I didn't lose it. I'm going to flip around here and show you the wiring block. Basically, my thermostat wire was cut short from the new construction, so rather than run a whole new cable. I just put in a junction block, and rather than use wire nuts, I'll show you what I did. Let me flip around here. Hold on. Okay, guys, there's my junction box or block. That's all of my top wires right there are from my thermostat. I have 2 8 wires ran down from my stat. Um, that set of wires coming off to the right, that's dehumidification. That orange and yellow wire. That other brown wire to the left of that yellow wire is the outdoor sensor, along with that other brown wire on that last terminal block hooked to that pink wire. Over here on this block over here, hooked also at the very end is that blue wire. That's just a common that I looped over to where I can tie in another couple commons if I had to. Over here on this block is my outdoor unit. That yellow wire on the bottom goes to my outdoor unit. If you can kind of trace the wire down and then back through the zip ties there, you can kind of see it going out to the outdoor unit wire. Over here is that ISO relay. If you see those 2 yellow wires coming in the top of that block feeding to that outdoor unit wire, that's how I'm achieving those 2 signals going to that one wire that we were talking about earlier. If we look at that ISO relay a little bit closer, we see let's see if I can kind of pan around here a little bit better. Maybe not. Trying my best here with this camera angle. Anyway, that top set of contacts, let me get the camera back up. There we go. That's top set of contacts right there on that 9340. The top right hand contact is my thermostat Y1. Now that's normally closed to that top contact middle leg there. Then, as you can tell, that goes over and feeds to the outdoor unit yellow wire. So that turns the outdoor unit on in low stage. My blower then, obviously goes into the low stage capacity. So anyway, the second set of contacts right below there is the ones we want to focus on. So when this relay is energized, it is energized by Y2. Me and Ralph talked about that, and basically Y1 is going to be your workhorse. So we wanted that to work the least, if that makes sense. So the least amount of work on the most amount used is what we thought about. So with that being said, Y1, when it calls, it's only making to a normally closed switch. So it does very little work at all. The thermostat does most of that work. So when the thermostat calls for Y2, Y1 obviously de-energizes, and Y2 then makes my 24 volt coil on my relay, thus breaking the normally closed on the first set of contacts and making the second set of contacts. So if you look there, you see off of that black wire coming from Y2, it's jumped to that common side of the second set of contacts, which then makes to that normally open contact that feeds to that outdoor unit. And everything happens so fast that it does not interrupt that outdoor unit connectivity. So that works awesome. So if anybody is looking to do this, this is how we do it, fellas. Unless y'all can come up with a better way than that, this works great. Like I said, There's all my other wires. There's the black going from Y2 over to here, and Y1 over to here, and just neaten this up the best I could. There's my common looped over to that feeds that common side of that, and but yeah, that's that wiring. And the other ISO relay for that O wire I was talking about is inside the air handler. I got UV lights in there. I don't want to pull it off, but so many times anybody who knows anything about these carrier air handlers, you pull those screws out too many times, you got to drill new holes for new screws because it wants to strip out. But all in all, it's a great air handler. I think I would have had more of an issue with the train air handler that I was thinking about going with. Bosch, Ralph talked to the Bosch engineers, and they did say now that they can, you can use an EEV on an indoor unit. So as long as it's not communicating, it can be used. I just didn't trust it. This was about as far as my trust level went with experimentation at this point. It's my money, and I'm an employee of a company. I don't own one. I'm not sponsored by anybody. I'm not. This is all on me, fellas. I think it turned out great. I got a lot of medical issues as far as I had cancer and got some spinal issues with my neck and whatnot. But for what it is, I think it turned out very well. For doing this myself, and my son's helping me. I think this job turned out very well. I'm very pleased. My wife is constantly on my case because I've been experimenting with this thing about how cold it is in the house. I like to tell her it's way less hot than it used to be, so chill out. You guys understand that. She didn't. But I'm coming up on 18 minutes here, plus I wanted to throw in the thermostat wiring info. So, anyway, it was a great experiment, and I want to thank Ralph Wolf for helping me out and guiding me through this whole thing. So we'll talk to you later, fellas. If you have any questions, reach out to me or Ralph. We'll be happy to help you out, man. Talk to you later. Bye.